A Malaysian Chinese hip-hop artist gives the Taliban suggestions on how to maintain stability in Afghanistan. And the Chinese Communist Party feels attacked. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Being a celebrity is harder than it looks, especially in China, where you're under constant scrutiny from fans, haters, and the authoritarian state. I did an episode last week about China's cancel culture. It's brutal, even if you're not actually in China. Recently, Taiwanese show host Di Shu lost over $1 million in brand deals for implying that Taiwan is a country. In an Instagram post, she referred to Taiwan's Olympics team as national athletes. That's it. People got mad because national athletes implied that Taiwan is a nation. I guess you should have said athletes from Taiwan province of China. It just rolls off the tongue. What's crazy about this is Di Shu is one of Taiwan's most Beijing-friendly celebrities. If she isn't safe from China's cancel culture, no one is. China makes up one of the largest markets for the entertainment industry, especially in East Asia. So it's understandable why celebrities care so much about their reputation in China. But there's one major hurdle to being successful in the China market: the Chinese Communist Party. They're like a bouncer at a nightclub. You can't get inside without slipping them some money and all of your integrity. Thankfully, there are still a few artists out there who don't want to get into that stupid club, although they don't get a lot of press because the Chinese Communist Party doesn't want people to pay attention to them. Which brings me to rapper Namewee. Namewee was born and raised in Malaysia and is of Chinese descent. His music incorporates several different languages and cultures of the Chinese diaspora. A couple weeks ago, Namewee wrote a post on the Chinese social media platform Weibo that pretty much ruined his chances of ever being big in China. The post was about 8 stability maintenance proposals for the Taliban to fully regain power in Afghanistan. Step 1. Block evil internet media such as Facebook, YouTube, and Google to prevent citizens from communicating with the outside world. Step 2. Establish your own official state-run news website, communication software, and social media platforms. Broadcast the official state-run news to tell the people that foreign media are evil foreign forces with the intent to criticize the people. Don't watch fake news. Step 3. Create a giant statue of the Taliban leader and place it at the gate of the presidential office. Put up propaganda slogans everywhere on the street. Brainwash students in schools and always inform the people how great the Taliban leaders are. It sounds so familiar. It's almost like this is exactly what the Chinese Communist Party does. And if you think the Chinese Communist Party might be a little upset at this comparison, wait till we get to step 6. More after the break. Welcome back. What else can the Taliban learn from the Chinese Communist Party to maintain stability in Afghanistan? Malaysian Chinese hip-hop artist Namewee has more for us. Step 4. Encourage citizens to jump the censored firewall, but only to go pick fights. As long as there is a single criticism against their government, citizens should write messages calling them offensive anti-Afghan frogs, or NMSL. Frog is a slur that Chinese netizens use to attack people who support Taiwanese independence. The idea is that the people of Taiwan are like frogs at the bottom of the well who can't see the wonders of China. Look, I didn't say it was a good insult. And NMSL is an insult that literally means your mother is dead. Again, I didn't say it was a good insult. Step 5. On national holidays, spend a lot of money to invite a bunch of foreigners to sing patriotic songs such as My Country, Afghanistan, and Without the Taliban, there would be no new Afghanistan. There's a famous Chinese propaganda song called "Without the Communist Party, there would be no new China." It's the perfect example of a song that binds together the country, China, to the ruling Chinese Communist Party, in a totally normal, not creepy at all way. And yes, sometimes they get foreigners to sing it too. Moving on to step 6. If citizens express any dissatisfaction towards the government, immediately build a place similar to a prison, but you must not call it a prison to the outside world. Round up anyone with independent thought for re-education. When foreign media are invited, force the prisoners to act happy. Periodically force prisoners to grow watermelons and export the watermelons for foreign exchange. That's pretty good advice, but Namewee forgot that the Taliban should also force the very happy prisoners to dance for the foreign media. It worked great when the Chinese authorities got Uyghurs to dance for the BBC. No genocide here. Step 7. Shoot a bunch of patriotic flicks, such as The Afghan Warrior and The Afghan Warrior 2, to give the Afghan people a sense of strength and remind them all foreigners are bastards. This is, of course, a reference to China's notorious wolf warrior films, which inspired the term wolf warrior diplomacy. And step 8. Spend money on internet celebrities to make videos titled, "Americans are stunned silly," "Russia can't hold it together," and "I will never regret choosing Afghanistan in this life." Let the people watch this stuff and encourage them to repost them on the internet for bonus propaganda. There are still more ways, but I can't write them all in one post. I welcome everyone to comment and provide other suggestions. I will collect them and translate them into a language that Afghans can understand and send them to the Taliban for consideration. As long as the Taliban follows these methods, they can surpass Britain and catch up to America in 3 years' time. Surpassing Britain and catching up to America is actually a term coined by Mao Zedong in the late 1950s. Mao expected China to surpass Britain in steel production and catch up with the US. This basically launched the Great Leap Forward. And finally, at the end, Namewee promotes his music, like any other artist would. But it may not have been a great promotion because this 8-step post got Namewee's entire Weibo profile deleted immediately. Not only has Namewee been kicked off of Weibo, but there's basically no chatter about it on other Chinese social media platforms, although it got some coverage in other countries. Namewee's actions make his stance on the Chinese Communist Party pretty clear. Actually, some people were surprised Namewee wasn't already blocked on Chinese social media. He's collaborated with other artists who are not big fans of the Chinese regime, like in his song China Reggaeton, which features Anthony Wong. Anthony Wong is a Hong Kong actor and singer who is also a pro-democracy activist. Wong supported protesters during the 2014 Umbrella Movement. Then he was blacklisted by the Chinese Communist Party, and his career took a huge hit. Namewee has also made promotional videos with Taiwan's Tourism Bureau, and I don't think he called it Taiwan Province of China. Artists like Namewee show it's possible to have a career even without the Chinese Communist Party's approval. It's refreshing to see an artist who doesn't self-censor for the Chinese Communist Party. Let's just hope he never has to go to China. And now it's time for me to answer a question from you, a fan who supports China Uncensored on the crowdfunding websites Patreon and Locals. Smiling Man on Patreon asks, "I have a question because it confuses me that you call the CCP communists. Even if they call themselves communists, wouldn't you agree that China now is somewhat between an aristocracy and an oligarchy? I also think that they are extremely capitalistic in their own way, but that's another topic." Great question, Smiling Man. I call the CCP communists because they're communists. A lot of people think communism is just an economic philosophy about wealth redistribution. It's not. It's about so much more, like rejecting traditional values, taking not just people's wealth but also their freedom, and stay control over every aspect of society. And yes, that's still what it's like in China today, not just under Chairman Mao. In fact, just a couple months ago, Chinese President Xi Jinping told people that Marxism and socialism should be life's purposes. And when Xi Jinping talks about socialism, he means in the same way Karl Marx did, that socialism is the path to communism. After China's economy opened up in 1978, it may have seemed capitalist, but it was never really a free market. The party always controlled things behind the scenes. And now there are signs China's economy is starting to get even less free. For example, there's a new wealth redistribution policy euphemistically called common prosperity, where the most successful people and companies have to give up a substantial portion of what they've earned to the state. There are also signs that the party is taking over more and more private industry, including private schools. So you can say China is an oligarchy in the sense that it's run by a small, powerful group of people, including Xi Jinping. But it's a communist oligarchy. The CCP is definitely still communist. Thanks for your question, Smiling Man, and thank you for watching. Please support us on patreon.com/China Uncensored or on chinauncensored.locals.com, and you'll have the chance for me to answer one of your questions on the show. I'm Chris Chappell. Thank you for watching China Uncensored.